everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're going to start a new Odd Jobs and Small Projects video. And the first thing we got to deal with is this little robot vacuum. So, I started noticing that he doesn't go straight. He's always curving to the right. So I said, I think we have a problem with the wheel motor. So we got him up off the floor, and anytime, very important with these, the Sharks anyway, anytime they're off the floor, turn them off. Because it'll be sitting on the bench. It's happened to me before. And all of a sudden it'll start looking for the mothership and drive right off the bench. Even though it's supposed to have cliff sensors. It happened in the basement one time. So, I'll show you what we're up against. Aside from it being filthy. See there how the transmission in this wheel motor is shot. You see how this one? That one's got, you're back driving through the gears on this one, but this one, nothing. So we're going to go ahead and pull this wheel motor out. We need, whatever this is, a T10 Torx. Oh, we might need a T15 also. Hang on. So first thing we got to do is pop this brush off. And now, T15. No, I picked up the 10 again. There's, I think, 5 screws. I'll count them as we get them out. There's 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got to magnetize the screwdriver. Okay. If you don't have one of these, get one. Princess Auto, Harbor Freight, Amazon, whatever part of the world you're in, you can find them. You just put the screwdriver in there, and it's supposed to become magnetized. There we go. So that's 3 screws. Oh, there might be one under here. No, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there it is. 4. So there's 4 screws holding this baby in. Oh, and look, there's one down in there too. I was right. There's 5. Okay, so once you've got those out, the wheel motor comes out, and we got to unplug them. You see there's a little clip you pull down on that, and then you need some pretty, there we go, slender fingers. All right, now, we got it this far. Take the spring off, the return spring, and we got to pull the pin out. I need a little, oh, we can use this here. So you'll see here the pin, that end's fat, that end's skinny. You push on the skinny end, and out comes the pin. Ta-da! Now we got this part out. Now is where we need our T10. We take these 4 screws out of the gear. This is you should see how many gears there are in here. I'm going to show you what's wrong, and then we'll decide if we're going to take what we need out of that one, or if it's the same, we can just pop that one in. There's many different models of these things over the years. Oh, and this thing here, I buy them on eBay. People get these things, they've got bad batteries or electronic problems, and they part them out, and they sell the parts on eBay. I got this wheel motor complete on eBay for like 15 bucks. Sometimes people want 90 bucks for them too. I think a new one from Shark is over $100. Okay, so we open this up, and the little gear that blows up is, I think it's this one here. You can see all the teeth in there, see? One of these guys is blown up. Yeah, here, you can see there, that one's destroyed. So, what we do, and I think it's taken out that one too, has it? Yeah, that one's wiped out too. So, let's open up this one. Now, if we compare the housings, you'll see that this one here is the wrong side. So that's going to be a problem. So we're going to have to try, what are we going to do here? Because how is that gear on? I've never gone that far into one of these before. Is it pressed on? Well, we'll work on this one thing at a time. Let's get these gears out. Where's that broken one? So here's our busted up one, right? And you'll notice that on the newer wheel motor, this gear is made out of a different material. So to me, it's obvious that Shark has realized there was a problem with these and made some kind of engineering change in this material to solve a problem. So anyway, what we're going to do, we could put, this gear goes in, and then this gear goes in. And then we're going to put this gear in. There. And now you'll see our wheel motor is working properly. And we'll grab some of this grease that's kind of come out of here and just get it back in there. Good. So now we can put this back together, and this little guy should be back running good again. And while we got them upside down, we'll pop out the main roller here, get that all cleaned up, clean everything else up. You have to keep these cliff sensors clean. And you can see here his front wheel is worn right through. Pretty common problem. You can buy these for cheap on Amazon or eBay. Roomba and Shark use the same front wheel. It just pops out like this or like this. There we go. And then you slide the axle out into your new wheel and pop it back in. I always keep a couple of these in stock. So here's a good used one that's kind of worn out, but not quite finished like this one. I may actually, on the lathe, make one of these out of brass or Delrin or something, so it just literally never wears out. This is rubber, so it doesn't mess up your hardwood floors. There's no hardwood floors out here. I'm actually impressed with this thing because this is not exactly the environment that this thing is designed to operate in, but you know what? It's done pretty well. I can't complain. So now we got this. We'll get our wheel motor plugged back in. And then you got to jiggle it back in here. The spring here, especially on this side that's got the on-off switch, the suspension spring, you got to kind of fish that around the on-off switch, and you sort of jiggle the thing down in. There we go. We got it. And then make sure the suspension still works before you start putting in screws. Good. Now back to the T15. Put our 5 screws in. All right. We got Bob all fixed up. Now we're going to turn him on. He's happy. He's got 3 battery bars. Now let's put him down and see if he goes straight for once. Something not right there, boys and girls. And there he goes. Bob is back. We might as well have a go at Stuart while we're here. The problem with Stuart is the trouble codes that it flashes. It's indicating trouble with a cliff sensor, and these are your cliff sensors around here. So about all we could do is I'm going to open it up, take it all apart, and make sure they're all plugged in. It's about all we can do, and try it again. First things first, we take out the wheel motors like we did on the other one. Just got to unplug them. Then pop the front wheel out. Come on. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. And then you'll see here there's 2 Phillips screws. And that'll pull that bogey wheel right out of there. Sorry, there's a better view of it. You get at one screw there, then you just turn that, and you get at the other screw, and then that whole little thing comes right out. And this Phillips screw here will get us into the battery. That was one thing I tried to get rid of this trouble code. I took the battery right out and let it sit for a bit. Didn't help. Works on cars. And then you just unplug it there. You see there's a little tab you depress, and out that comes. Okay, so now next thing we got to take the bumper off. So there's 5 teeny weeny little screws. There's some kind of tiny little Torx, but I'll show you what I do to get them out. I just use a flat blade precision screwdriver, and if you press right down into it, it'll grab, and you can get these little babies out. Once the bumper's off, we've got 5 screws holding the bottom of the thing onto the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're T15 Torx. We'll pull them out and I'll show you what's next. Well, we may have found a problem here. You can see here these little sensors all in the front of the thing. This one here had this feather over it. Look. Now the sensor is clear. I don't know if that's our problem or not. And the rebound spring for the bumper is bent. I don't think that's really causing us any problem, but we'll try to straighten it. Anyway, when you get to this point, you see here there's 2 little tabs we got to pop up. There's one on each side, and then we can take the plastic cover off the top, and all our circuit boards and everything are right underneath there. Now, I'm no expert on these things, but I'll show you around a little bit. This here is your suction motor. You can see here's a little problem. This thing has been going around this garage sucking up all kinds of metallic debris, and that stuff will play havoc with electronics. So we're going to give this thing a great blowout. We'll get it all nice and clean inside, and then excuse me, see if we can find out about these cliff sensors. You can see here there's the wiring going down to the cliff sensors. And that seems to me like it's all okay. I don't see anything loose or anything that looks like it's damaged. There's no loose looking plugs or anything up here on the circuit board. So it's not really a lot we can do here. Now, as far as this feather being over the sensor, these look like they're like a sonar sensor, or what, kind of like what we have in the bumper of our car when we're backing up, you know. And they sense the movement of the bumper, and that's how it changes direction, you know, of which side it's on. So I kind of think that feather being over this thing was really confusing it. That's my working theory anyway. So we're going to go ahead now and put this thing all back together and see if it works. Well, Bob's been going for about half an hour now with no issues. So I've made it this far. The bumper's all back together. And I got the front wheel bogey back in. We could stick the wheel back in it. It just snaps in like that. That tire's in a lot better shape than our other one. Now we can go ahead and put the wheel motors in and everything else and see if it works. Alrighty, once we get the wheels in, we make sure that the suspension works and make sure that our gear train is good. You'll feel a bunch of resistance if you just move the wheel a little bit because you're backloading through all the gears. You don't want it freewheeling like that one we had on Bob there when it had the broken gear. So now we can put the brushes on. The front ones, they just snap on like that. Line up the square, pop it on. And then this one, you'll see there, it's got a square drive that engages with that. And then you just line up the arrow at this end, there. And then it's got a little door that holds it in. There we go. These things are pretty easy to work on, really. Now we can, where's our battery? We got to put the battery back in it. Let me find it. So that plugs in down in there. Just make sure you got it. You feel that it's going in. Click that in. And then engage the little tabs on the door. Do up our screw. Good. Now we'll get him right side up. And stick the hopper in. There. That's it. There. Snap. It's hard doing it with one hand. Okay. Let's see. I don't know what's going to happen. All we can do is try, right? Turn them on. Nah, same problem. So you can see here, clean red and dock flashing together. Cliff sensors reporting an error. Wipe cliff sensors with a clean cloth. Well, of course, we've done that about 50 times. See here, robot cannot start due to an error. Turn off the power switch on the side of the robot. Wait 5 seconds, then turn power back on. Ensure your robot is on a level surface with no obstructions. Well, I've tried everything and I come up stumped. So I've gone ahead and ordered a set of cliff sensors. Apparently good used. We'll see how that works out when they show up. Now, all this mess here is the allegedly good used cliff sensors that we bought on eBay. Now, according to the trouble codes that this thing was spitting out, it's got a bad cliff sensor or something wrong here on the board. Who knows? So all we could do is we're going to swap out all of this stuff, try and run it and see what happens. As a bonus, I had stolen the wheel motor harness out of this one for Bob over there because it had a broken wire. My fault. As a bonus, this guy here came with the 2 wheel motor harnesses. So that's at least something. If anything, we've got that. So we're going to get that over there for now. So we're going to start, I guess, do it side by side. We're going to figure out what parts we need here. Nope. Okay, this is some of the stuff for this side. So you can see here, this has got the on-off switch and the charge, the charge pads. We don't even need to change that because there's nothing wrong with the charge pads on this. So what we need is, I guess, this one of these or the other. We'll start pulling it out and see which one it is that we need. In order to do this job, it looks like we have to remove this upper cowl, or whatever we're going to call this piece. So we'll do that. This is getting to be quite a project, isn't it? I just hope it works when we're done. Next thing, there's these 2 screws. This one, after we get this piece off. It's a bit of work because the wires all are held by it, but it's out. Now, there's a screw there and a screw there. We have to remove those, and then, and only then, we can lift up this part, get it out of the way, and you'll see there is our other cliff sensor. I'm trying to avoid unplugging everything. There's a couple little tabs in there that we're going to have to release. I got to reach down in there with a small screwdriver and figure out how to do that. So somehow this thing comes out of here. Oh, and I kind of think it goes out the bottom. And then there, it comes right out the bottom like that. Is that defective or not? I don't know. So we're going to get the new one up in. There we are. Okay, so there's that one in. Now, same job on the other side. Now we're going to replace the front sensors. And this one here is down sitting in the front of it. And you can see it just pulls straight out. And the new one goes in. It's got something else attached to it also. We'll have to chase that. See that purple and brown wire? We'll have to chase that along there and see where it goes. But, and another thing I've noticed when you're putting these things together, all the stuff on this side of it has white plugs. And all the stuff on that side of it has got black plugs. So at least you know you get the stuff on the right side. All right, we've got all these sensors and everything all back and plugged in. The last thing we're going to change is this. And what this is the micro switch that tells it the hopper is in to let it run. It won't run if the hopper is not in. So theoretically now, oh, there's our, that's the harness from the old one of this. And we swapped out our broken wheel harness while we were at it. So now, first thing we got to do is put these two screws back in to hold the board to the chassis. Okay, so now this guy can go on, and it's a little tricky because you've got to get these things, they go in those holes there. And we've got to get all these wires fished into it. But hey, we can do it. We got it apart. We'll get it back together. All right, next, now we've got this guy on. And we've got all three of these. There's something to do with the bumper through. It'll snap. There's two little clips there. There's one there and one there. So now we can put two silver screws. These go down through the board into the chassis. And these four tiny black screws. Man, make sure your screwdriver's magnetized if you're working on these little guys. Now I got to get all these wires clipped back into their little clippy things. Well, now we're mostly back to where we started from. We've got all our spare parts here. And oh, it fell off. Sorry. I keep trying to give it to Deb, but it actually belongs on here. Okay, let me get it on. Alrighty, now this goes on. We can put his lid on. The three pins go through the three holes, and look, you'll see it snaps on. Or it's supposed to snap on. There we go. There. Now I got to flip it over, and we got a few screws to put in the bottom here. Now we're going to put the wheel motors back together and get them in. Now we can flip them over and put his bumper back on. So that's pretty straightforward. It just kind of goes down over there like that. And we flip it over. And this clips on like that. And then there's 5 teeny weeny little screws that go in it. Oh, we've got 4. Now I'll pop our brushes on, our side brushes. And install the beater bar. You'll see here there's a little arrow. You just line up the arrow with the arrow there. And that's good. And now we can put his battery in. Heaven knows what's going to happen. I'm not holding out a ton of hope, quite honestly. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, we learned how to pretty much take it down to nothing and put it back together. And we also learned that it's probably not really a serviceable item. Even though we've done okay fiddling around with them. Okay, now. Yeah, that's good. Make sure his bumper works. Okay, let's turn his battery on and see what happens. Well, no error code so far. Let's put it on the floor and see what happens. Here goes nothing. Holy Toledo! We fixed it! I do not believe it. So one of those sensors either is no good or had a bad connection or something. Because you can plainly see it's working now. Alrighty. And now it's time for Bob here, as happened to the real Bob, to become King Bob. King Bob. This might not go so well, but we'll try. And there he is. He is now King Bob. We'll put him on it. We'll put him on his charger now. Well, that'll do it for that one. That was quite an exciting round of vacuum robot fixing. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many people in the world are extreme enough to have an old coffee can full of Shark robot vacuum parts. But I do. We've got so many of the damn things. Anyway, I still can't believe that we got Stuart going again, because I thought he was a goner. I tried everything to get it going. I mean, you were with me. We tried everything. And then I contacted that appliance guy on eBay, and I told him what the trouble codes were indicating. And he said, yeah, you got to change all the sensors. I guess what the problem is with those cliff sensors, there is no way to actually test them individually. So you basically have to change them all and cross your fingers and hope for the best. And what do you know? It worked out. I'm going to send the guy a message and say thank you very much, because I'm so happy to have that thing running again. Anyway, I've gone on enough. We're going to let these vacuums get back to work now, and I'm going to get back to work. I got some other stuff I got to do, so I'm going to take off. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to our channel. I hope you'll come back and see us again. And until then, this is Kevin saying so long from the Claremont Classic Garage.